Life becomes a little harder when you know your potential. So many times I wished I was like everybody else, that they felt content with life, but there was something inside of me that knew, that felt different, that I knew that I was here to create a legacy, to create something important, to live my wildest dreams. I knew that I didn't want to leave this world without experiencing everything that is available to me. And the hardest thing about truth, when you recognize you have that power inside of yourself, is that you can never lie again to yourself anymore. And it is so clear when you're living below that potential. So for me, it became a very painful gap because I started to be so hard on myself. It seemed like there was this hyper version of me, so confident, so successful, empowered, queen, goddess, that had the life that I wanted, but somehow, because I wasn't there, I always felt behind. That gap between my actual self and my potential self felt like something unreachable, because the more that I knew, the more that I learned, the more that I explored myself, the more capable I realized that I am. And with that, I became so hard on myself that I never got to truly celebrate the steps, because it seemed like it was an unachievable goal. There was a side of me that was a perfectionist, trying to play life to up to my expectations, you know. And what is crazy is that at some point I realized that growth, it's a never-ending game, that there's not going to be a moment in life when I sit down and I say, okay, I've reached my full potential and I'm not growing anymore. And that was such a mind-blowing moment for me, because I thought that potential was this thing that was going to happen one day, and then I will have permission to be. I know how much I enjoy dancing and having fun in life, but potential seemed like something so rigid and so important that I thought, okay, I'm going to work super hard in my business, and once I have this family, once I have this business, once I have achieved these goals, then I'm going to have fun, to have time to have fun, to be much more fresh, to express how I want to express. And I didn't realize that I was pursuing my potential as if it was a goal, as it was a goal for external validation that told me that I was important. I think that I really got myself into thinking that my potential was this thing that I achieved one day and proved my worth to the world, but also to myself. This thing that measured my value. And I never realized that it was totally the opposite way, that my potential was never something to be earned, but was the pure essence of who I am. That what makes me different, that what makes me authentic, that it was never something to get out there, to achieve through doing, but my potential was to fully let myself be. And when I started to be fully expressed, I started to share with the world the core of who I am. And now I know that I'm living in my potential today. Now, the shift that I created in my life is that instead of me having this far away goal, my only goal is to experience the most amazing and extraordinary day that I can experience today. So I converted potential into capacity. Potential is this idea of who I could become one day, but capacity is what is the best version of myself that I can be today. And when I created that shift, now my only responsibility is to be fully expressed today. And I know that there's no way that I don't even know where I'm going to end up, but I know that if every day I'm showing up to the best of my ability, with my highest excitement, with the most of my authenticity, I know that the path that I'm going towards, it's beyond my wildest dreams. And that's the thing, that potential is about experiencing life from the fullness of who we are. At the end, potential is here today and it's expanded through time. It's inevitable that I'm going to reach my full potential in life, because I'm feeling and fulfilling my full potential every single day. I guess that The funny thing is that I thought that potential was this thing that I was going to be recognized for. That one day when I had all these goals that I had in mind, I was going to be able to share with everybody else and they were going to admire me and see me differently. But now that I know that I am living life to the fullest of my potential. I'm having so much fun that the things that I used to do, like I'm going to work to achieve this other thing, I'm going to interact with these people to create this partnership, business, relationship. Now everything is a vehicle for me to experience my full potential. How wild can I create in my business? How much can I get to know myself and my heart through the interaction with somebody else? Everything has become a vehicle of self-development. What is the version of myself that is being unlocked through this? And because it's not, this is the key for you to start embodying your potential, that it is not an idea anymore, it's just who you are. While I was trying to become somebody else, that trying part gave my subconscious mind the idea that it was something that I wasn't. But instead of pursuing potential, I started to allow potential, which is just authenticity at a level that I'm not saying only the things that make you unique, but authentic and full expression of who you are through what you think, through what you say, through what you do. I will say that as I created that shift in my life experiences, everything started to become so much more vivid. Now, the things that I used to think like, oh, I'm going to save this idea, I'm going to save this technique, I'm going to save, I don't know, like secrets or tools or product services, offers that I have for people for whenever they come into my mentorship, for whenever they join a program of mine. I guess that full potential has allowed me to become so given with everything that I know, so given with everything that I practice. I became an open book where I share everything that has worked for me, because I know and I have the certainty that there's more of that, and I'm creating it every day. Honestly, the way in which I'm embodying my full potential is by creating a routine that holds me to a frequency where I know the purest version of myself can be expressed. So before, when I realized my full potential, it would be when I was going to a retreat and then I saw this vision of myself in a stage with thousands or millions of people watching me and doing something. I don't know, in so many ceremonies that I had, I saw myself as this big woman creating a legacy that would change humanity. But somehow those were big experiences that were so high that then would make me feel disconnected and make me feel so bad about myself. And the shift now is that more than having a big experience, every day I'm showing up to the fullest of my capacity and I'm embodying the best version of myself that I can be today, because I know that every day I have a different capacity. And these are 5 levels that I do that into. The first one is my biochemistry. I know I can embody my full potential if the mix of the biochemicals that are present in my body allow for that. If I combine cortisol with dopamine, I know I'm going to be so drained and I'm going to be rushed. I know that the best way for me to experience the fullest of life is through flowing. So now I combine in my biochemistry dopamine with oxytocin and serotonin. Then my frequency. I know that frequency is the interaction that happens between neurons at a certain rhythm, and that creates a wave. And depending on the wave, we have, for most of people, beta state, always like going in a rush and being worried and exhausted throughout the day. And my daily experience where I know I can achieve my potential is entering theta and gamma states throughout the day, be so connected to my heart. Then what that creates in my electromagnetic field is that the expansion of my mind, the expansion of my heart, and the expansion of my gut and the neurons that are in these 3 centers of commandment, it's so wide and it's so expanded that I become hypermagnetic. The things that are in alignment with me, they come to me because I'm taking care of my electromagnetic field, and I know that everything that comes to me is because it's in coherence when I am in coherence. Then I have my emotional state where, and here I use the pyramid of Hawkins, where I know that I'm staying beyond up from 200, which is acceptance and willingness. It doesn't matter what I'm seeing. I used to fight so much with my own frustration and my own anger. Now I know that even if I cannot be the most joyful, loving human some days, because some days I'm hormonal, some days there are things that really bother me, if I can stay in willingness and acceptance and go above from that, I know I can reach my fullest potential. And then there's my spiritual body, which is walking into every place like God sent me, and with that certainty of the perception that life is not something to create from force. It's just something to be explored and to be tasting the most delicious ways, to be savored. I'm going to every place now, not trying to reach my potential, but discover the potential that it's already inside of me, and that has changed everything. I will say that instead of experiencing work, experiencing relationships, experiencing my service, experiencing what I do as a vehicle to get somewhere, the shift that has allowed me to embody my potential is to see everything as a vehicle to get to know myself, to take the potential that I thought that was out there somewhere, to know that it's something that is already within myself, and it's non-negotiable. It's something that nobody can take away from me. It's something that it's innate to myself. It's something that it's so fully alive that through everything that I'm doing, I'm discovering that potential. And that also created for me a life without an agenda. Now, when I do my service, when I do my mentorship, it's something that I do with the purest of my heart, because through helping others and supporting others to also create life experiences that they love, I'm getting to know myself. Before, I remember that I was meeting people with an idea of a role that they had to play into my life, checking, how are you going to help me reach this goal that I have in business? How are you going to help me reach this goal or this vision that I have about family? But now I'm so grateful for everything that comes my way, because I embark on every journey with curiosity, with this relationship that I have with myself, and it's now something to be discovered instead of something that I have to win or something that I have to achieve. And that's what we are doing also in the mentorship. Now that I'm seeing the people that are in the mentorship, and they all came because they have been leaders that have been working so hard, that have been so hard on themselves, and at some point they said, like, I'm exhausted from trying and now I want to flow. And the moment in which they do that, they enter in such a balance and such a connection with their true self that everything goes faster and everything goes easier. Because the difference is that when we know our potential, we're so busy trying to create something that we do a lot, but we're moving in multiple directions. Knowing and embodying your potential is about acknowledging your gifts and your mastery. And then instead of doing a ton of things, you slow down, but it's not that you're stopping, you're entering a flow in which you know the specific actions that you're doing and that are totally taking you to the next level. And I know you know what are those specific actions that you have been postponing, and all of that to-do list that you have right now that you think are going to take you there. I don't know why you're doing that. If you get very clear and transparent with yourself, if you recognize your mastery, what are those actions that you can do that are so uniquely yours, where you can be fully self-expressed? And if you prioritize that, if you start prioritizing yourself, if you start getting to know yourself as if you were literally in a romantic relationship with yourself, because you are, and start discovering and savoring life, you'll see that because there's nothing to lose, you can go faster and you start taking more action. When we think that we have this huge potential and I can be so capable and there are all these things that I could do great, but I'm so afraid to take action because I think I'm the queen of the world, and if I do something wrong, I'm going to miss my chance to achieve my potential. you're overthinking all the time, you're drained, you are not flowing in life, and you're keeping yourself small and shrinking every time. But when you know that your potential is something that nobody can take away from you, and that through action and embodiment you're discovering it, it becomes a game, it becomes something so much more playful. And honestly, at this time, I am enjoying life the most I have ever enjoyed life. I'm doing way less, but the things that I do have so much value. I'm doing it with the fullest of myself, and I'm in love with the life that I get to create every day. For me, this is what excites me. I don't have this goal of who I'll become in 5 years, who I'll become in 10 years, who I'll become in 20 years. And maybe that doesn't align with you, but for me, I'm excited about today. I'm excited to know that I'm not the same woman that woke up this morning, and that I'm fully experiencing life with the only thing that I have, which is this present moment. And if I make sure I'm growing as much as I can every single day, there's no way, it's inevitable that I get to the fullest potential of the most extraordinary life that can be created through me. So I guess that it's going so good and so amazing that now I'm building a life that I love and sharing with other people almost like the ingredients to a recipe for them to do the same, for them to create their own recipe that it's not only nourishing, but they feel like they want to eat it. And I've created this group of amazing humans that empower each other and that are doing things in a very different way, because it takes courage to be different. It takes courage to know that there's a different way to experience life, and we hold each other in that way. There's nothing beyond that, honestly. There's nothing. There's no plan, there's no strategy, there's no step ABC, because that's more information, and I'm not here to give you more information. More information is only going to make you feel worse about the things that you're not embodying and the things that you knew you should be doing. This is a game, a dance for you to have, and to give yourself finally the freedom to be. And you enter that place when you know your worth, when you know your value. And the more you fall in love with yourself, the more that you prioritize yourself every day, the more that you know that your value and your worth is non-negotiable, and you cannot live in any other way. I know you're not alone in this, and let me tell you that embodying your potential, it's so simple, and it's way easier than you ever imagined, and can be achieved so much faster when you realize that there's nothing to be achieved. There's only an allowance that needs to happen for you. And maybe that starts by unlearning everything that you thought you knew about yourself and letting the mask down. I'm happy to talk about this with you. I'm happy to share with you. I'm such an open book about my experience, about the extraordinary life that I'm living right now. And also, if you are interested in joining the mentorship, you can find me on Instagram as @elizabethramirez.co, and we're here to propel humans that are having a good life. And I know that if you're watching this video still, you are a different type of human that probably are having a good life, but you want great, or probably you're having already a great life, but you want extraordinary. And let me tell you, the only way that happens is when you start inwards. Love, love, love to have you here.